What's up, Wolves? Today I'm gonna go through my U.S. Masters tournament. I even got my House Stark shirt on for all the Wolf chess people out there. Um, Definitely an interesting tournament. A lot of good games. A lot of games against, I would say, quote unquote, high profile chess players. Definitely some names you're gonna recognize. So definitely, before you get into it, uh, like and subscribe to this video for more great chess videos. And let's get right into it with round one, the 2023 U.S. Masters. All right, what's up, guys? This is round one. I'm playing this guy, Zubin Balaga. I think he goes to Duke. He's like a grad student there or something, like 2100, 2200 USCF, like 18 or 1900 FIDE. So this is actually the first game I got to whip out the Sicilian, which is pretty cool. Something that I've been really excited to do. Finally, a man now. That's what it means when you finally play Sicilian over the board. Um, okay, so let's start with this position. He goes Bishop C2, and here something like a cool story and a reason why I think I at least got a good position in the opening this game is I played this position in a blitz tournament about a week or 2 weeks before against this guy who's unrated or like 18, 17, probably like 1600. And I actually lost this game. And it's not even that I lost, I got absolutely crushed. And what I did in that game is I went c4 and he went d4, take, bishop takes, and like he went a4 and it doesn't look that bad, but this position just became pitiful. Just really, really hard for black to play. So I was upset that I lost this game. So I actually went home that day or the day after, and I looked up. I was like, I can't let this happen again. I need to know what to do if this happens again. So I looked it up, and I saw that I can go d5, and after take, knight takes, black is already doing pretty good, as you can see from the engine here. And this is kind of where I stopped looking, but because I lost such a tough game in Blitz, I went home and I looked at what should I actually do. And this is a very important life lesson, chess lesson. Like when you lose hard, when you lose bad, it's actually kind of a good thing if you learn from it. If you just get depressed and like you're like I'm never doing this again, then it's a bad thing, of course. You know what this is actually very similar to? It's in stand up when you bomb, when you do really bad, like nobody laughs. It's almost like you want to just stop doing things in the middle. Like your next set is always going to be way better. And same thing with chess. Like I had a bad game, such a bad game that I was like, I can't let this happen again. I'm going to learn from this. Um, so we get this position, knight takes d5, so d4, bishop b7, and this is always a common idea. I could go bishop d6, bishop e7, but then he has the option of taking on c5 and making my bishop move twice. So this is always like a really big, important chess principle that you always want to keep in mind. Don't move the bishop twice, so always take here first, and then you can move the bishop, so you don't have to go twice. So he ends up responding with knight takes d4. So I go knight takes, queen takes, and this is when I get a cool idea to go queen c7. So the reason why I want to go queen c7 is two things. I want to get this bishop to c5, and then, wow, okay, so bishop to c5, having some issues with arrows today. But actually, let's just go ahead and I'll show you basically what's going to happen. So, okay, let's just say, for example, he makes a random move. Instead of queen h4, he goes like, sure, okay, let's say castle, and he goes like knight d2. I just want to show you the beauty of the bishops. So if we get this position, we can clearly see that these two bishops, these stingers, are perfectly pointed against the white king. On top of that, I can put my knight on f4, I can put a queen on f4, and I can go g5, rook g8, and then we have an onslaught against the white king here. Now, of course, he's not going to make it so easy for me. He's going to try to move his pieces and try to open me up over here. It is a bit double-edged because this is going to open up real soon, but at least like stylistically and even optically, black's pieces are doing super well and are all pointed and flowing in the right direction. So that was my idea with this. And now here I had a very interesting choice. Maybe the wrong choice, but y'all can be the judge. So here I could have just gone bishop e7, queen h3, and then like h5 or g5. These are the ideas. Basically, I'm going to push these pawns, open up the king, and try to get an attack against this king. Now, the problem I thought his attack was actually kind of fast too. He can take on b5. I will take back. Come on, computer. All right, take. He'll go knight a3, and then this does look a little bit scary. Now, computer is a serial killer. It doesn't even care about the b5 pawn. And this king is butt naked, but it does not care whatsoever. We got the bishops, and we got some pawns. So that's why I went for the option that I went for. I ended up going g5. Because personally, I don't like being attacked. Even if I'm down some material, if I get to do the attacking, okay, maybe you can survive, you can find all the right moves, and you can not be dead. But it's going to be hard, and you're not going to have fun. And that's what I really like to do, not let my opponents have fun. So I go g5. He ends up going bishop takes g5, and I get f6 in. Man, chess space is being tough today. Very bad boy. All right, come on. I guess I could always cut these scenes out. All right, we got it. Bishop takes g5, f6, and I sacrifice another pawn. Now here he actually should not take. He should go bishop d2. And his computer puts it at +1, but as you can see, like my attack is now a lot more ahead of his. I'm already putting pressure on g2. I have some discoveries on g2. And then the bishop's going to come in fast. And we're going to have some very nice attacking opportunities. You can definitely see g2 is a big weak point in White's army. Chess space. Yeah, I might have catch 22. So here's the conundrum. I got two laptops. One of them half works, but the chess space is smooth. The other one works, but the chess space is not smooth. So which one do you go for? So anyway, at least while we work, we'll make it work. So queen takes f6. I go bishop c5. I'm starting to line up the guys, line up the boys. As you can see, the stingers are ready to start attacking. And as you can see, though I'm down 2 pawns, you can see the evaluation is 0. So clearly black has initiative for what's going on here. Now he played knight a3, and I thought a better move would be to go knight to d2. All right, chess space. Man, I might get stuck with the other laptop. That's what it's looking like. So knight d2. The reason I can't take here is because my rook on h8 will be hanging. He can take queen takes h8, and as you can see, this is clearly winning for white. So knight d2, my plan was to go rook f8, and these are actually all the best moves in the position. Sack out another pawn here, queen f4. And basically, he's going to have to sacrifice the queen, something like this. Very crazy position. Honestly, this is why people play the Sicilian, because you're going to get these like real fights. It's not going to be really boring. And against certain players, this is the perfect way to go. Against certain players, not the perfect way to go. So it's a good weapon to have in your arsenal, but you need to know the proper way to use it. As all weapons, you must find the right way to use your weapons. Anyway, so here, like I do believe black would have enough to win here. I think I could win this position. So that would have been the plan. But instead of taking the pawn, instead of knight d2, he goes knight a3, which I thought is a little bit more passive because the knight is stuck here. And you can instantly see the evaluation really jump. Because now I kind of have like a, so let's go here and let's say rook e2, all right? So this position. So whenever you're attacking your opponent, this is a very important rule to do. The formula for attacking. The formula for attacking is +2. If you have 2 more attackers than they have defenders, generally your attack should work. So let's go ahead and count the attackers versus defenders here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now for defenders, he has 1, 2, 3. So now I know if I make the right moves, if I find the right sequence, I should have a win here. And that is indicated by the computer evaluation. That is at -4, -3. And that is because I have 2 more attackers than he has defenders. And like I said before, if his knight was on d2, now he would have 4 defenders, and it would be a little bit more interesting. And I mean, as you saw in those positions, the evaluation was not as high. So here, I'm just bringing pieces in, and now computer didn't really like this. I mean, I thought it made sense. I mean, computer's just trying to caveman it and just go after f2. Just hit this as hard as you can. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to make a weakness. So I went, where is this? Queen g4. I went rook h6 first, provoking h3, and then rook f6. Because now I can use the g3 square in some positions because of the pin. And I thought at least his king is weaker here. Now, okay, there's a bunch of different moves, but we'll just go ahead with the variation I went with. Oh boy, this might be it, boys. Computer is he back? Is he alive? Barely. He doesn't want to move. All right, so rook f1, queen f7, and here is where we get the knockout blow. So bishop d6, queen e3, and queen g7. So obviously I'm attacking g2. He goes bishop e4. I put him in a pin, and then I think here's where he blunders queen d3. Because now I have queen e5, threatening checkmate and threatening the bishop. And the key move here, and I think is what he missed and what I was fortunate enough to find, is after f4, I do not have to move my queen. I can actually just take on e4. Take on e4. If he takes my queen, I take his queen. I'll just put this in real quick. And now, oh, sorry, no, don't lose. I mean, actually, even that is okay. But this is even better. Just rook takes rook, king takes. Thing is just falling apart real soon. So he goes queen g3, queen c5 check, king h1. Here I actually was spending some time like, all right, what's the best way to do this? I go rook g6. I got everything. But here, bishop d3. I mean, queen d5 was the other move. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter. This has gotten to the point of massacre where black is obviously doing super well. And after bishop d3, just a simple way. All my pieces are protected too, as you can see. Everyone is working together as a unit. This is what you want your pieces to look like.
Spartans! What is your profession?
And this is kind of the story of the game. The two bishops, the castle queen side against the king side, pretty much everything that you can kind of imagine or dream of for round one. And after bishop d3, he went ahead and resigned. So now we will move on to round two. All right, so this is round two. I'm playing International Master Brian Escalante. He actually made Grandmaster of this tournament. I guess I won't spoil the result for you guys. But one thing I will say about this game is Brian Escalante is one of my arch nemesises. And not in like a I hate Brian kind of way. Obviously, he's a really nice guy. But basically, Brian has beaten me twice, and both the times I was white. So I'm really, really trying to win / not lose this game. Like when someone's beating, and both of the times, like I'm not gonna say I needed wins, but I needed the wins. Like I was not, like those are times where like if I could have won this game or at least not lost, I would have been in great shape to norm / gain rating. So I mean, I was telling people before this tournament and for tournaments, Brian Escalante is my arch nemesis. So here I got to play him. He actually ended up showing up to the game about 20 to 30 minutes late. So I was feeling good. I was like, all right, we got a French. He went for this knight f5 line. Now this is something that's very important and for people to know. Do not take this knight on f5. In fact, what you want to do in these variations is take on c5. Man, I gave the whole speech. Okay, so take on c5, bishop takes, and now you have a couple options, but basically here you just chill. You castle, you go b4, a4, and the idea here is you can take here anytime. And two, now the knight looks silly because there's no target on d4. So that is the reason why we do not take on f5, we take on c5. But instead, I took on f5. And this is kind of the first of a couple games where like I don't know the opening super well. So when they do something strange, I got to figure out for myself. And when you got to figure out for yourself, sometimes you don't make the right decisions. So what the proper thing to do here is, and for anyone who's playing an opening and they get something new, they want to think about utility and purpose. Like here, what is the knight actually doing here? The knight here is putting pressure on d4. So we can try to solve that problem by doing take on c5. And I was thinking about taking on c5 a bunch throughout the game. But the timing was off. And now, next time, I will know. So let's go ahead and continue. Now, another thing with this is when you take on f5, and anytime you want to trade, you want to ask yourself, why now? And is this actually helping? And here I was like, okay, this bishop is going to be bad, so I'm happy trading here. But I'm losing my best piece, and these double pawns are not that bad. And this is actually something I know as a French player, but I just really wasn't sure about when to do what. Now here, I wanted to go rook e1 and then take on c5. This was my master plan, okay? But the problem is after rook e1, he goes b6. Now, if I take on c5, he goes pawn takes. And as you can see here, black is already doing better. And at this point, I'm actually starting to get equal to lower on time than Brian. This man shows up 30 minutes late, and 9 moves in, I'm less on time. Not a good way to start against your arch nemesis. And then here, I'm just like, I'm not sure what to do. That's really what it was. I was like, do I go b3? Do I go knight d2? Do I go h4 in some lines? Bishop e3? There's just so many options, and I just wasn't sure when to do what. So I ended up going with the worst of all of them, pretty much. I took on c5, take, and I went knight d2. Now, the reason this is bad is now he can always go d4. So actually, let me do this. He's got the 2 bishops, and I'm opening the position. I knew this, but I thought, okay, maybe I can put pressure on this c5 pawn. That was my idea here, at least. At least I have some kind of, all right, let me try to do this and see what happens. Another thing is his king is still in the middle, so I was really fantasizing about moves like e6 and then sacking the exchange and doing all this kind of stuff. None of it is even remotely close to working, of course. But basically, I was just very stoned out in this position. I was like, I'm not sure what to do. And okay, all of this I saw. I knew he's going to go queen b6. I knew all of this is going to happen. And then what do I do next? So we get this position. He basically achieved everything that he wanted to in the opening. He got his bishops. He got the good center. He basically got a good Sicilian, almost, something like that. And at some point, he could even start attacking the king side or the queen side, whichever side he wanted at this point. So I basically did what I know how to do. I was like, all right, let me at least try to attack the king. Okay, so I go h4, also preventing g5 in some lines. He castles, and I go queen d2. So now I have some ideas of sacking on h6. If he does nothing, for example, like let's say he goes rook c8, this actually becomes a legitimate move. Because with this queen and knight on g5, a lot of times I at least have a draw. And this is always a great thing you can do against much higher rated or high rated players. If you can threaten draws, they have to do something about it. Because they don't want to draw, especially when they have a good position. Yeah, if you have a bad position and you can threaten a draw, that's not even being like soft. That's like making the most, and that's a smart decision right there. That is like hedging your bets. Okay, so here he goes king h7, go rook d1. Basically, I'm trying to develop my pieces. Queen c2, having ideas of g4. Also, some ideas of rerouting like this. Not there, here. So a5, also bishop c1. I need a hard b2. Because at some point he can go c4, rook b8, and put pressure here. So basically, I'm trying to consolidate this side so I can start going on this side. Now here you can see from the engine, black is chilling. And this is actually another theme that you're going to see in this tournament, where I basically outplay or come back from worse positions against very strong players. It's not an easy thing to do, but if you can do that, that's almost like a superpower. So knight d2, he goes for d4, which I thought he was going to do, and once again, I'm chilling out. Don't take on d4. If I take here and open this up, yeah, like knight b4, rook c8, like I'm going to get rolled on this side. So right now, the queen side is clearly the weak side of the board for me. The king side and the center is clearly the strong side, as you can see even optically. So here, I'm just trying to chill out like this. So here, knight g3, putting pressure on f5. Even here, I was actually still happy. Now, you can see like black is apparently doing really well here. But it's like, all right, I've basically locked down the queen side. All right, he has a prayer to pass pawn forever. That could, I mean, that is a problem for sure. But at least I can start looking at potential ideas of knight h5, knight hg7, all these kind of sacrifices on the king side. So he goes queen a4, b3 here. And here I was like, I think I can actually try to trap this queen. The queen doesn't have many good squares, so I go h5. This also prevents any pawn push, because now it weakens this side of the board. He goes a4, and I'm like, yo, I think I have a draw. Knight h2, queen g5. Now here, I think he had a serial killer move. Yeah, bishop g5. I put the idea, like something like this. Yeah, and here, I thought I was chilling. I thought, okay, opposite color bishops, I can definitely hold this. I mean, it's here at some point, too. Like, I thought that was okay here. So he goes for queen g5, and now I just try to trap the queen. f4. Now there's once again some serial killer moves like rook e4 and all this kind of stuff, and the thing that you need to calculate, the thing that makes grandmasters really strong, is they will look at things that look silly but actually are deep and make sense. Like here, a big idea that I kind of missed was he can sacrifice the queen and he's actually just fine. Like that's the best move. Like actually, even here, for example, I guess he gets 3 pieces for. Yeah, this would be hell. Man, he's got 3 guys and we strong pawns and pressure. Yeah, this would have been really dangerous. So yeah, rook e4 I was looking at, but I was like, bro, it's a weird position. Let's just keep it simple. So I go knight f3. Now here, actually, I have a serial kill move. I can go bishop takes f4. Take, rook e4, and I trap the queen. Because queen g5, I have knight f3. And here, it's going to be rook and piece for queen. Spoiler alert. And here, like, I mean, it's complicated, but it's definitely something that I should factor in. But here, I mean, once again, since I had a worse position, I was okay with the draw here. So I figured after knight f3, he has to repeat. And then Brian Escalante goes queen takes d1. And I was like, I mean, I guess, but I should be fine. But I mean, he's playing spot on. This is actually the best way, and also the only way to avoid a draw. Anything else, queen h4, I would simply just repeat. And I mean, if he basically has to sacrifice, otherwise it's a draw, because the queen is actually trapped out here. So he goes for the queen sack, which honestly makes a lot of sense. And now here, this is very important. I think activity and piece coordination is much better than material. Because that is basically what black boasts in this position. He has the more anchored pieces and the stronger pawns. So if I just try to gobble up material like this and this looks very scary. He's got the center pawns, he's got the center pieces, and my pieces are all off center. So I'm like, I don't care about material. I'm trying to get my pieces back into the game. So here, and now I'm just trying to consolidate. I mean, I could take, but I didn't. Okay, this is what I was afraid of. Something like this here, and then like this. Apparently this is fine, but I thought my queen was going to get stuck on this side of the board, and he's going to be able to break through on this side. So that's what I really wanted to avoid. I mean, apparently bishop e6 is just good for him. So queen d2, rook b3. So here I go ahead and take the pawn, and now it's just about consolidation mode. Get these guys just defending and blocking the pawns. At some point I have a queen, like I have winning chances. So queen e4, and here I thought bishop g4 was a mistake, because now it really lets me like get active on top of like actually have threats. So what he should have done is just grab the bishop. I think, yeah, queen takes, don't lose the pawn, and just kind of cement it in. And here, I mean, once again, this is not an easy position to play. Like, if I get active, like, is he sacking here? Oh, bishop c5, GG. But, okay, that's not in a perfect world. If I get my knight here and get my queen and rook to the f-file, like, I actually have some winning chances. But, I mean, it's just crazy position. Not easy to evaluate at all. So take, definitely pawn takes. I mean, queen takes, I think a pawn goes. And also, I want to fix my pawn structure. So pawn takes, knight takes, here he gets the pawn. And here, like, I thought e6 actually loses. Because I thought he would take, king f8, and then put the bishop on f6. I mean, computer just does not care. It's like, you're fine. But here I was like, I mean, I can't break through. There's nothing I can do here. All these pieces are anchored, and at some point he's just going to push these pawns, is what I thought. Apparently, I'm actually just okay. Like, there's not really a way for me to push. I mean, I guess. I don't know. Like, at some point he goes bishop g5. It looks very scary. I do not trust the computer in this position. Instead, I went for the more active queen b7 here. Okay, now, if he lets me go to h7, for example, I thought he was in trouble, actually. I thought I'd get g7, I'll cover everything, I'll get some checks, and, I mean, maybe I can even win this position. So, I go for queen b7, queen e4. Once again, threaten the draws, so he goes bishop f8. And then here, queen b6 I thought was a very nice move. So queen b6, it hits the rook. Rook has to move. It threatens e6, because now I can take with all these checks. If the let's see, what did he play? Yeah, if he moves off, I mean, now I'm just gonna get this and hit this pawn, which is I think the very important part. If I go e6, yeah, I mean, I already talked about what happens if I go e6. All right, so I'm just like finessing. Now here's a very, very key moment where I can actually play for the win. Now I even asked my sensei about this after, and he was like, "No, man, what you did is fine." So computer wants to go king g2, and it says like you have absolutely nothing to worry about here, brother. Like he doesn't have anything. for me, it looks pretty scary. So he would have to take. I would take check, and basically my king's gonna run out like this way, something like this, to start an actual attack. King h8. Yeah. So where's the win? What does it want to do? I think it wants queen e5 at the end of the road. So queen here. Ah man. And after something like this, queen. I mean, none of this. I guess I have some kind of. I think I have some kind of queen f5, and I take this pawn or something. Queen f7 is super strong. He can't leave the back row. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. Basically, this was the way to play for the win. I went the human king f2 because I wanted to be able to hold this pawn and be like, okay, this king can help in this defensive effort. So I went here, c4, take, and then it's just simply a draw here. And I have the perpetual. If I go queen f7, I think he just goes rook back to a8. And then actually I can lose. So I wasn't trying to mess around. When it's your arch nemesis, you're like, all right, first step is just don't lose. After that, you can start kind of being fancy and trying to do more from there. And that's exactly what I did. And I think that was a very good step in the right direction against an opponent that I have historically done very bad against. And this will be a theme that you're going to see in this tournament. So that's round 2. Now, on to round 3. All right, what's up? This is round 3. I'm playing International Master Andy Woodward. Definitely a promising kid. I think Hikaru endorsed him or something. He beat Hans recently at the World Junior, I believe. So we get this position. Something I've been doing a lot of work on is getting this a5 pawn in these d4 kind of like, I'm not going to say dry positions, but like, I mean, they're pretty dry positions. But basically the idea of a5 is you're just going to grab more space on the queen side. And it's just going to make things more spicy in the second half of the game. Always kind of useful moves, like having, if I can get this pawn here, like it either opens the a file or it's a asset with a outside pass pawn later on in the game. So that's been something that I've been doing a lot of work with. So he goes for c takes d5. Something I remembered in my prep before the game is if they take here, d4 is always good. You'll get this pawn back, and then this pawn is very strong in the second half of the game. So take, knight takes d5. So we're just doing normal stuff. I mean, I could have gone IQP. Actually, something I did learn by analyzing it and seeing other games is queen b6 is always a very important idea here. Just to kind of force e6, e3, and you get an extra move in. Basically, you do all the same things, and now you get this faster. And you'll actually see in the game at some point I do this idea. I mean, literally very soon. But I could have just gotten the extra move in, and I think e takes would make more sense, because now I can actually go knight c6. So anyway, just, I mean, normal position, nothing crazy. Now here I was thinking, like, what should I do here? I was thinking a lot about knight c6 I really wanted to do. And I was like, do I sacrifice a pawn here? So let's say, like, knight takes d5, for example. I mean, I don't even think I sacrifice a pawn, because I can just take it back. But my whole idea is I was getting a bunch of activity, which I was really happy about. So like this, I never really counted as a pawn sacrifice. Maybe I just... Oh wow, take, and then take. And then, I mean, the problem with this position is basically I'm just going to get a 2-result endgame where I should draw, but he's got the winning chances. And that's where, like, I definitely want to, like, work on this position. Because I want to win. As crazy as that sounds. So anyway, we kind of just make moves. Once again, I'm not doing anything too crazy. And now here's where I thought, okay, I think I might actually have an advantage. And the reason why is I really like this maneuver, knight b6, coming to c4, and then I can go b5. And then I can get the 2-on-1 on the outside. And he has some things to worry about. Like this knight on c4 is going to be very strong, as you can see here. So I'm even here, like, black is 100% fine. I'm chilling. No problems whatsoever. But what is kind of the theme and kind of what is going to become a problem later on is he's playing really fast. And I'm not playing, like, slow or anything. But all of these moves I think I could make faster. But it's the first time I've really played this position. So I'm really trying to double check and make sure. And, I mean, the good news for white is you can do kind of anything, and you're just going to be okay. Like, it's not like white really achieved anything in its position. As you can see, chess base is telling us the position is equal. But, okay, he's got 2 bishops. Nothing crazy, and later on, if things get crazy, like, he will have a time advantage, and that's kind of what happened. So here he goes for the classic, like, strong player, like, I don't really know what to do, so I'm going to just go h4 to try to make it annoying for you. Definitely a strategy I 100% recommend. This is, if you're not sure what to do, push that h-pawn. Because if they go, let's say, for example, h5, h6, now you have hook on h6. They don't go h6, h5, h6 yourself, they go g6. Now you got mate on g7, you got back rank. And lastly, if I go h5, now this pawn could become weak, and the king side becomes weaker. So these are all very important strats as stronger players to make something happen. So here, but I'm just like, whatever. I'm good. I'm good, brother. All right, so now let me backtrack a little bit. So there's a great quote my friend told me. So I go rook fc8 here, right? So how do you choose between which rook, right? This is always a question that we always struggle with, like which rook should I choose? And this is something that Grandmaster Alonso Zapata told my friend. He said, you calculate which rook you want to move, and then you move the other one. And the reason why is, for the most part, it won't really matter. And we just overthink it, and then we end up making the wrong move. And let me show you exactly why I made the wrong move. Because we're going to go forward, and now I literally go rook here, and then at some point I'm going to go rook c8. Now, if I had put in this rook on c8, the other rook, then I could have just in one move gone rook f to d8. But now I have to go rook f c8, rook f d8, and this rook is just chilling like a villain on this diagonal. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you actually take that advice, but just keep it in mind. Generally, the answer is the opposite of what you think. I remember when I was taking chemical engineering classes, it's something very similar. We would have true and false questions. And it's like, how hard could true and false be? And these questions would be the hardest true and false questions you would ever see in your life. And what I learned there with like homework and when they answer, like they get asked questions out loud, you think about which one it is, you think it's true, and you pick the opposite. Because just some magical way, it's going to be the opposite. So rooks are like chemical engineering. There's your example for you. All right, now here is where he makes a mistake. He goes king g2. King g2 is the only way for me to have something. Now, of course, here I'm 100% fine. You can see, like, I mean, I'm more than fine. I think black is doing well here. Like, I have a plan. I'm going to attack this pawn, put pressure, get my rooks, and at some point try to push these guys. He is kind of just, like, reacting. And this is crazy. Like, he goes king g2, and all right, the whole idea here is I go e5, because now if he takes here, for example, I go bishop h3 check, and I win the queen. And that is GG. So he basically put himself in this line of fire. Now, I think I'll make the analogy a little bit later. First, I'm going to show you kind of what happens. All right, computer says like you go bishop he went bishop g5. Yeah, it's okay. So this is all normal. I take, and now I go bishop check. I mean, I think these are all best moves. And now I'm dominating the position. His king is off center. I've traded off. He doesn't have the bishop pair. I mean, I'm about to be up a pawn actually. And this is where I was like really trying to figure out what is the best move here. So computer really likes, no. It really likes knight rook d2. Yeah, this is not good. Because he has this miracle, man. This is like this. Okay, yeah, this is what I just want to show you guys this. So knight d2, I was like, okay, I should be winning because I win the rook. But by the grace of God, that's the only way that I can put it. I guess I can go rook e8 and just chill. And here's another thing in this position. Maybe I should have been looking for a draw. But no one tells you the evaluation unless you're Hans Niemann. Just kidding. So you don't, like, I thought I was like -3 here. I thought he was like dead. And to further iterate this point, my sensei's friend looked at the game. I was looking at the game, and he told my sensei, like, yo, your guy's about to crack Woodward. Like, he's at least like -3 or something. Like, he must be winning. But you can see here, like, even after the blunder, it's -0.3. That's what makes chess hard. Like, your opponent can make a mistake and be fine. Your opponent can also not make a mistake and be just dead lost. So the most accurate move here is just rook d2 and go grab a pawn. Crazy as it seems. I guess if he takes here, I think I should win the exchange. Man, it's just some crazy stuff. Like, I mean, what's even going on here? Like, who? I mean, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go get this pawn. I mean, the knight here is very strong, and I will say here the coordination for black is phenomenal. That is definitely a great point for black here. But I'm going for the kill over here. That's what I'm trying to do. So instead of rook d2, I go rook d8, you know, just normal moves. And okay, this is where I start getting in some time pressure. Because, I mean, I already was down on the clock, and now that I'm, like, going for the kill, I'm really like, okay, I got to get this guy. Like, now is the time to strike. So I take this pawn. I mean, these are all normal moves. Now here, man, even here, this is the crazy part. Take. This is what I was calculating. Rook takes g4. Wow. So I want to just take here, and I thought here, okay, I should just be winning. But after this, once again, by the grace of God, he is just alive. And the only thing I can do here is really go for a draw. Okay, if he takes the rook, it's just check. That's it. That's the best I got after all this. It's just insane. It's insane. So yeah, now I start getting low in time. This. I mean, this is all still fine. And then, boom, everything goes just like that. What should I do here? I mean, I'm just, okay. If I can go 95, I should be money. Right now, the rook is hanging. So I had to do something about that. So I did. But this, he has this tactic. And, I mean, at this point, I saw all this. I just had like a minute left, and I was like, I don't know what else to do. And this is the saddest part about this game. Okay, he blundered, whatever. But it went from I'm winning or I'm better to I'm dead lost in just one sequence. And it's basically because here he has this, he has mate, and the worst part is he can win the queen. If he couldn't win the queen and I could just like give up the knight, I could draw this game. 4-on-4, his king is a little bit weak, my pawns are weak. But the problem is I'm just losing heavy material here and it's game over. Now I played a little bit longer, I didn't put it in because, I mean, it doesn't matter. But the comparison that I wanted to make that I alluded to a little bit earlier was sometimes, like, if you just make the game a fight, stuff starts happening. So you'll see this with, like, UFC fighters or boxers. They're just sitting on the outside waiting, nothing happens. And sometimes their coach just tells them to just go, just make something. If you get punched a couple of times, okay, you're going to get hit, but now you have a fight. And now your opponent can get caught and knocked out. And that's basically what happened this game. Became, like, we were chilling. I was doing a good job, just normal cruising. Honestly, like, even slightly outplaying, I would say. Then as soon as I got the advantage and it got crazy, like, I kind of opened myself up for just this, all of a sudden, a random knockout. And that is just kind of a thing that happens in chess and fighting and everything. It's something you just got to keep in mind. So sometimes, like, if you're stuck, if you're not sure what to do, like, it's okay to make it a fight, and it's okay to blunder. Like, not sometimes, like, luckily, blunders aren't death, or, like, it's not instant knockout. So, yeah, here, like, that was my game against Andy. Just complicated, weird game. I mean, opening was good. Progress was good. I mean, like I said, the big theme that I'm seeing from this tournament is I can outplay IMs and GMs in even slightly worse positions or equal positions. Then it just, when it becomes a fight, I need to be ready to not die. It's probably the theme here. So anyway, let's get on to round 4. All right, so this is round 4 against Ethan Liu. I think his FIDE is like 1900, USCF's like 2200 or something. So basically, I'm coming off a loss. It was Thanksgiving evening. I was having a good tournament. Okay, I lost to good players, so I'm 1.5 out of 3. Nothing crazy. But I will say, like, your first loss is always, like, the one that hurts the most. Like, there's a song, first cut is the deepest. That's the same thing in chess tournaments. Because, like, until you lose, you feel like you're invincible. Especially, like, I drew Escalante in a worse position. So how do I respond after the loss? Like, I kind of just chilled with Sensei and the homies that night. Definitely, like, we stayed out kind of late, chilling, just partying a bit. It's Thanksgiving evening. And then you got to hit the next round hard. Like, you can't, if you lose 2, boom, tournament's, like, over, and now you're in depression mode. And basically, this game is exactly what I needed. So here, he goes queen d5. So I get this, like, very offbeat line that I prepped with my sensei in Sicilian. And once he went queen d5, I was like, bro, this game is over. Because if he tries to grab this pawn, I'm going to take him to the woodshed. And that is exactly what I did. Let me even make sure the engine is on. Yeah. Or make sure the engine is not on somewhere else. and you're gonna see some fireworks right here. Let me tell you that. Okay, so there's knight takes d4. There's I think what he wanted me to do was to go for this, and okay, the computer liked it, but I thought, all right, what he wants is okay, I move this somewhere, and he goes knight d3, and I'm kind of stuck here. Not the worst thing in the world, but why would I be stuck when I can hit him with the gas? So take, rook e1 here, and knight a3. Okay, now here, remember how in round 1 I talked about the formula for attacking? There's also a formula. This formula applies to all kind of chess positions. It's all about +2. So here, he has developed the queen, which honestly doesn't even count as one. I have castled, I got my rook out, I got my bishop out, and my knight's coming in with tempo. So I am at least +2 here in development. That means that I have more than enough compensation for one pawn. And you can see that. 0.21 down a pawn, white's got initiative.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Bishop d7, d3, trying to get the bishop out with tempo, of course. He takes now, knight c4. I don't even care about the pawn. Because if he takes, I'm going to develop the bishop with tempo, and now I'm really hitting him. All the weaknesses everywhere. Queen h5 is coming in. Like, this is exactly what you want. Especially against a lower rated player or someone who's more of a solid player. Like, if you can really, like, put pressure on them, attack them, it makes it very hard for them to figure things out. So here, bishop f4, tempo, queen c8, and then here is the critical moment. This is where I took maybe 30 minutes or something just to figure it out. Well, definitely a lot of time. So my choices here were bishop h3 and queen h5. So the reason why I wanted bishop h3 is because, okay, now I have all of these pieces attacking. Now, the reason why it's a little bit sus is after c takes, okay, knight takes, I'm moving backwards. I don't want to do that, so I go rook b1. He kind of has enough pieces to survive. Now, I'm sure it takes some precision for sure, but unless I'm going to sacrifice here, it's not very clear how does white actually break in. But the good news is I had this idea that is just super strong. So take, and then knight e5, hitting the queen. He has to go queen a6, because anywhere else, I just go queen a4 check, and he's like dead. King has to move, line of fire, just everything is going. So he has to go queen a6, and basically, this queen is off center. His pieces are undeveloped. Now is the time to strike. We got 1, 2, 3. And anytime you want to bring in you want to really come in with authority, anytime you're trying to finish your opponent, bring in the queen. She is the one who really, like, the enforcer, the one who gets all the stuff done. So queen h5. So this is winning because, okay, his only move is g6. Everything else kind of just loses on the spot. And here I can just take. Now, the reason this wins is because after take, I have queen e5. And I think we both missed this. King f7 is his best try. Just because here, and here. Now, okay, this is still better for white. But I am a little bit stuck here. I mean, stuck, but also his king is stuck. But at least he's got some counterplay. That was what he should have done. Instead, he went for knight f6, queen h4, and then here I'm going to be just up and exchange. And then here I was really thinking, okay, so bishop h6 here. Now, this is the position. Do I just trade and simplify because I'm up material, or do I try to put my foot on the gas and really try to make it hard for him? And this is actually something I teach my students. Keep it simple, TKO, don't do too much, trade, keep it simple, open the position. But his king is so weak that you can really make a case for making it hard for him. So queen g8, trying to put pressure on f7, king e8, rook takes. Now here I was really calculating. Yeah, bishop h6, king e7, take, and I was like, do I want to play this position where he sacks both exchanges, but my pieces are kind of mid? Now, okay, I think I am just completely winning here. But I was like, I don't want to give him any counterplay. Nothing, nada. So here, I don't even do that. I just go rook takes b2, b5, and then rook e2. maybe bishop a6. Yeah, here is also where I was looking at the double exchange sacrifice. This one's a little bit better for him. Now, once again, still completely winning. But, okay, these pieces are annoying, and I can't really get to this king. The rooks are clunky. If this pawn's not here, okay, he's dead. But since he's kind of covered up, got to do some work over here. So this is the other part where I spent maybe 15, 20 minutes figuring out, do I win the 2 exchanges, or do I just go for the attack? So here, I thought he was going to go queen b7, I think. But yeah, I mean, I can just sacrifice here. Yeah, this is what I think I was... Actually, this is the game. I was thinking about something else. So rook e2, how does he not just... Okay, knight e7. This is what I was calculating. If I go bishop h6... Sorry, my queen is hanging. If I take... And then just rook e4. And here, go for this pawn. So that's the key. Here, I was like, this is what I thought I was going to do. And I wasn't 100% sure what to do next. I mean, I figured I was better here. But it seemed like I still have to do work. But once he went queen b7, I was just like, all right, I can just bulldoze it.
Light it up.
This, I mean, there's a million wins here. But take here, this. So this was the other win. So, okay. I had to do queen g6 and rook e7. So queen g6, this is winning, but it looks a little bit sketchy. I mean, okay, it's not that sketchy. But the other variation is just simple. I just take here, I get the pawn, I get now rook and piece for queen, and I have 3 connected pass pawns. And I think the key move here is just queen a6. So here, okay, I threaten the rook, and I'm going to win another pawn. Basically, he has to go here. I'll do something like this, and now there's no pass pawns for him, and then at some point, I'm just going to push these guys to glory. So this game is exactly what the doctor ordered. Very fresh, fun opening, kind of inspired by the night before, and then finish it off with precision and correct decision making. And that's pretty much all you can ask for after a tough loss. So that's round 4. Now on to round 5. All right, so this is my round 5 game against Jakob Fus, international master Jakob Fus. I'm going to guess he's from Poland, but not 100% sure. This is another kind of revenge game where last time I played him, I was white. I just got absolutely smashed. And you're just losing with white when it's not close. You got to reevaluate your life. So here, I 100% was trying to just not get that kind of position, you know, not be in that position. So just going to the game, I'm just, once again, arch nemesis, can't lose. That's the mindset. And this one, man, this one is a crazy game. So let's go ahead and get started. So here I go d5. So this was actually inspired by my sensei. We looked at a game that he played against some international master. Now here, d5 I think was a little bit early. Generally, you do this after the castle. Let me show you why. Because basically, after take, queen takes, and like knight c3, you want to go queen h5 and bishop h3. But the fact that he hasn't castled means he can go h3 and actually threaten to trap your queen in some variations. But if he had castled, this is not a problem, and I go bishop h3 straight, and now he's in trouble. So that's why, like, here, it was a little bit rushed, but I was just so inspired, and I wanted to get the same position. I was like, yo, let's just go. So openings were strong, but also have work to do. When you're playing new positions and things are slightly different, you really need to take the time and make sure. So, okay, this is not a terrible position. So queen f5, knight a4. So he's trying to put pressure on c5, of course. So I go rook d8. I'm not really worried yet. Rook c1. So here I wanted this really cool tactic. Wait, what? So bishop takes d7. I wanted this, rook takes d2. The idea being, if he goes knight takes, of course, is checkmate. And the queen is trapped, and I'm going to take with check. But apparently here, he can just do this, and knight h4. And queen g... Wow, this just is nuts. So queen g5, throwing knight f3. He would take here. I go queen g... And then I think the knight gets trapped. Wow, this would have been... What? Oh, bishop a1? Oh, sorry. I mean, that's h8. Bishop a1 over here. The knight is trapped, and by some miracle... Man, my opponent's... I mean, he didn't see this, and this is just some crazy stuff. But I was really trying to get him with that, and if he had seen all this, he would have got me for sure. But he was just not messing around with it. He just went out and castled like a normal human being, a non-serial killer would do. So I took, and went knight a6. Once again, I'm still trying to play over here, get queen h5 and bishop h3 in, and have a party over here. But we'll see what happens. So queen h5, knight f4, queen h6. This actually happened in the model game with my sensei. And basically, I'm trying to push all these guys at some point. So I'm like, computer says 0.9, but I'm cool with this position. I got pressure. I got a plan. He's got to figure it out. No worries here. And once again, another theme of the tournament. I'm slightly worse against a better player, and you're just going to see kind of what goes on. So here, we chilling. We still chilling. So bishop f5, just developing. I'm trying to go bishop e4, actually. Get on this diagonal. Block him off, and then eventually I can start pushing. So he goes knight d5. Bishop e6. Now you're like, wait, free pawn? But all part of the plan. King f8, b4. So, I mean, I figured I was trapping the knight. I figured he'd have to go something like here. I go knight e8 is exactly what I calculated. And then here, I would simply just be up material. Very happy with this position. So, threatening to trap his knight, so he has to come back. I'm like, all right, I offered. I'm not going to. I actually, if he repeated, I don't think I would have taken the draw. But I wanted to see what he did. Because I figured any other move, like, one, he's admitting defeat. And two, like, I was pretty happy with whatever happens next. He goes queen e5. So rook d7, trying to get the other rook in, guard the pawn, queen f8. And basically here, I'm just getting ready. I'm hunkering down, but I'm about to start springing forward and exploding forward and really getting those counters going. So he goes d4, f6, queen e3. So we're just moving. And then here's where I thought, okay, I think I'm better here. So he went, so apparently a4, a4, going right into it, is the move. So knight takes, knight takes. I mean, I can understand why he was a little tentative about this. This knight is definitely very loose. I mean, even a move like rook d8, what's going on? A7 goes, maybe? Okay, I mean, we got a crazy position. But, I mean, once again, like, in these like positions where a lot of things are going on, it's pretty much impossible for someone to play exactly like a computer. Unless you're Hans Niemann. Second Hans Niemann joke of the recap. All right, so I'm basically up a pawn here. This is kind of what happens. Once again, just outplaying, better players. I mean, I should probably stop saying they're better players now. That would make sense. All right, now apparently knight c7 is the move. Once again, this is very serial killer because I'm just giving up this pawn. Wait, did he change his mind? Sorry, knight ac7 is the move. All right, let's see. Let's go on this journey together, my friends. So here, I mean, I guess the idea is I'm going to go e5. And now I'm just gripping the position. Yeah, this dragon coming at his queen or his king side is exactly what you want. Also, his knight has nowhere to go. So this would have made actually a lot of sense. And then I can start progressing forward. And, I mean, black... And this 2-on-1 is very far from becoming anything worth... or anything I have to be afraid of right now. So now, what happens if I do the other way? Is what I'm curious. So here... Why can't... Oh, I can't do the same thing because this knight is hanging. So I gotcha. So I went for kind of the safer variation. Now, I did kind of miss this idea. I saw it in other variations. But yeah, bishop h3 was nice. So instead, yeah, knight ac7 would have been really nice. Now, instead, he can go a4. Yeah, it's still a fight. It's still not easy. Like, same thing. But okay, now I can hold with e6. He wins the pawn. Man, I mean, this is just nuts. Like, who knows what's going on here. Now, we weren't really low on time here yet. So we did have some time to figure things out. But basically, this is what happened. And this is where I kind of learned the lesson. Like, if things are getting crazy, if things are nuts, bro, just trade queens. There's no need to live this life. This chaotic, crazy, like, bro, I have no idea what's going on here in life. Like, let's just trade some queens. Like, if he doesn't trade queens, okay, I can start going e5 and pushing forward, which I'm 100% cool with. But I actually am good at endgames. Like, even though I'm an attacker, I have good... It's almost like I'm a striker with good jiu-jitsu. Like, we go to endgames, I am 100%... I'm really jinxing it here. But my endgames are not that bad. That's what I'm trying to say. So now, king of 6, the reason I didn't go here is I figured he'd go knight d3. He's going to get knight e5 in. Now, maybe I'm a bit more active here at least, so this is okay. Because because the way I end up going knight b5, things got wild. Yeah, I mean, I saw e4 happening, I think. But okay, we're just staying solid as much as we can. And then here, like, what I figured is I got to stay active. Like, if we trade off more pieces, I can survive. And then, once again, a draw is not a bad thing. So I take on a2, very ballsy move, but it is what it is. And we're just simplifying trading, nothing crazy. If we want to take off the pieces, I'm more than happy. And here comes the head movement like no other. Bob and weave, boys, bob and weave. So here, 94. Okay, we're getting some activity. I'm hitting F2. So we're just sidestepping. And then here, yeah, this is where you have to be very careful. Knight F7 check, the king has to come up, and you have to make sure you're not dead over here. So that's why I go rook G7. Apparently rook E7 is possible. I assumed this is... Oh, yeah, I have this. Oh, no, I think I thought knight G4 check was the bigger problem. And I mean, I guess, yeah, it does make sense that this endgame is just okay. Yeah, I saw something like this, and I was like, I think I might just be lost. Because there is mate back here. But yeah, I mean, this would be some straight up... I guess I have this perpetual. That is the key. And he has to sack. Even the sacrifice, though. I mean, isn't he... Oh, no, he's not really playing. I mean, it's equal material. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could play this, but once again, white is the one pressing. And I was like, why should I go into all this when I don't have to? So rook G7. And here I think we both start getting low on time. So now we're getting like a real like battle here where like who knows what's going on. So yeah, rook A1 check, apparently bad. Okay, this I saw, but I thought it was a trap. Okay, so we're like, all right, you can win 2 pieces for a rook. But now the question is, who is really winning here? Because, okay, I have these 2 pieces, but he has the outside pass pawn. Even if magically I win this, this is still probably a draw. So this is, I would say, even though it's 2 pieces for a rook, remember, in the endgame, the rules are slightly different. So be very careful in these transitions. So once again, I think I did a really good job of not doing anything crazy. Okay, maybe he's +1 here, but I got a plan. So when your opponent's +1, but you have the plan, you can almost argue that you might even be better because you don't have to figure anything out. You just do your thing. Whereas they gotta prove it, otherwise they lose. So here, and now once again, he's trying to find a way to win this game, or to checkmate me, and I'm just bobbing and weaving, Mike Tyson, doing your thing over here. And eventually, all right, now the tides have turned. He has invested so heavily in this checkmate, where I actually am countering. Okay, whatever, rook E7, this, and now here is party time. Almost. Rook E7. It's just so scary. So computer wants to do this, and then these. I mean, wait, is rook take? So rook takes. I just step up, huh? Yeah, I mean, especially low on time. Like you gotta be a real serial killer to do this kind of stuff. Sheesh. No. I was not about that. So because okay, if you know it's winning, it's a whole thing. But if you don't, I ain't trying to take that risk, So this, and here is where I made the very, very big mistake of trading knights here. So I mean, I hyped up my endgame so much, and very just crucial mistake. And let me go ahead and explain. I think that the thought process here is I have been defending for so long, just not getting mated. So I saw this path of where, okay, I can probably still have a chance at winning this, and I definitely can't lose this. And I was like, all right, well, now that I can't lose, I'll do this, and I'll try to win. But a good player, a strong player, like, they can hold equal or slightly worse endgames where it's not really winning. Instead, what I could just do is just take on G3. There is no mate here. My king has an open path, and if he ever tries to move the rook off, just boom, and then I'm going to win. So this is where just a tiny bit more patience, and I almost easily win this game. But by doing this, I mean, I play it on. We basically get this position. Yeah, I think this is never winning. It's only that the evaluation was like that before the knights got traded. And okay, I try and I press, and unfortunately, it is a draw here. So theme 1 is against higher rated players. I can outplay them. Like I have people, even if I'm worse. Theme 2 is transitioning to endgame and complicated positions, I think is a very smart move. Takes away a lot of risk, especially when you're in time pressure. It makes your life easier. And I mean, as you can see here, like I mean, I was basically 1 or 2 moves away from just clinching a win against a very strong player. But it ended in a draw, so we'll take it. And now let's move on to the next round. All right, so this is round 6 against Grandmaster Darcy Lima. Before the game, Carter told me, basically this guy is like Alonso Zapata, another Grandmaster from Georgia. They're basically these South American Grandmasters who love to attack. They're going to play Sicilian. You're going to get a game. And if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. So that's what I had in mind with this game. Let me turn on the Oracle real quick. Make sure the Oracle is off. There. Yep. Okay, so we have this position. Here, I was having trouble remembering the theory here. F3 was, I was thinking, do I go F4? And then all this kind of stuff. I mean, this is okay too. I don't know. This is, once again, another problem of only kind of knowing these openings. Okay, so this, I think, is what I'm supposed to do. Something like this. So next time, I'll know. Definitely next time, got to really go through all the openings and just 100% locked in on what I'm supposed to do and what I'm not supposed to do. So kind of make it up as we go here, but I think this all makes sense. Now here, a very important idea that I kind of learned the hard way is go king b1, so that if they do go h6, a lot of times you can tuck this bishop to c1, exactly. And the reason why is this helps on the defensive idea, as in defensive purposes, as you're definitely going to see later, but also it helps offensively, where I can start pushing on this side and making things happen. So, learning lesson, king b1, always a good move in most Sicilians. So anyway, I go bishop h4. The reason why is I want to really try to hit d6, and then if he castled queenside, which I thought was definitely possible, I want to go bishop f2 and try to hit the dark squares around his king. So that's why I went this way. So boom, so here, king b1. And here I am, like, I think I'm chilling. I was like, bro, I got nothing to worry about. I got this on wraps. And the reason why is because when I play these positions, especially from the white side, I am always used to b3. I really have never played a3 myself, and I completely overlooked it. And once again, this has to do with experience. Now, if I see this position, I 100% know, okay, a3 is a very dangerous idea. Need to respect it. But here it was basically after I played knight d4 and I'm smiling and just like, all right, we got this. Like that's when I realized like, yo, he can go a3. And the problem with a3 is what comes next is even worse. He goes d5. So d5, like I really want to be able to go to e5 here. And if I had seen a3, I would have done this. The problem is, if this bishop is here, his queen is trapped. But the bishop is not there. So there's no queen trap. And let's say, for example, if he has to go knight g8 or something, I mean, this should be like +1 at least. Yeah, this is amazing for white. Control this. Of course, I'm going to take this and then just roll the king side. Now, once again, this bishop is here on c1. There's no mate, which makes a huge difference. And honestly, all the endgames are good too. So now I'm starting to, not really panic, but I got to make some moves that I'm not very excited about. Now here, originally I was like, all right, I think I can do this, but the problem is, like, even here, like, let's say, for example, rook e1, he just moves the king either side, and, like, bro, like, am I really going to mess with this diagonal? The dark squares, the mate on b2, like, everything. I mean, it's only +1 for black, or -1, but, I mean, it's not a fun task that I have ahead of me. So I was like, all right, positionally, at least let me not be completely, like, just busted, you know? So I go bishop d3, queen e5. He's kind of styling on me. Now, of course, knight can't move because there's mate on b2. Originally, I wanted to go queen f2. And I was like, oh, dude, I think I'm winning material here. But he has queen c5. If I take the rook, it's just game over. I can't stop mate. I mean, you can go king c1. It's tough, but no. We're not doing that. That's 100%. I just need to see that once to know that's not happening. All right, so once again, we're consolidating. We're chilling. Ooh, queen h2 would have been a nice move. But I went queen f2. Sorry, I didn't go queen f2. I went bishop f2. Just chilling. Rook e1. I mean, once again, very good. Bishop c6 also nice. Once again, I can't take because it is mate. The big problem with this position. So c4. Let me deal with the mate. Let me deal with it actively. Take queen c3. Okay, so now here I was hoping for this tactic, rook c8. Then I can go bishop b5. Now, funny enough, like I'm not even winning. The whole idea is, okay, if he takes, I take his rook. And he can't really move anything. But his position is so good that after this, he's still just good. That's so sad. I mean, honestly, here I am up a piece. So as long as I make a couple good moves, I should be able to consolidate and not be just GG'd. But he didn't do that. He went bishop a8. So I go check. At least let me not let him castle for all the pain and suffering that has occurred. Now I wanted to go f4. So I want to go f4 and take here, but he has knight d5, hitting the queen. So that's why here I went rook c1 first. You know, just having some ideas of queen c8 check, but also now I can go f4, bishop g3, because the queen would be supported on c3. So don't have to worry about that. So rook c1, king g8. I mean, he's just walking down here. Queen d6. Okay, now once again, just like the Fus game, I'm like, all right, things are crazy, probably not ideal. I need to simplify this position. I need to make life easier. That way I just don't get rolled. So he takes rook g1. This, I think, was a little bit risky on his part and just unnecessary. He had such a good position. But now I got some pipe dreams on g7. Cool move here is if he takes on f2, rook takes g7 loses, actually. Because he can defend, or he just goes king f8, and then bishop f6, and then I'm actually getting rolled. But the winning move here is knight takes e6. And even if I lose the queen, like queen check, it's nothing to worry about because this is still checkmate because the king is boxed in the corner. So he cannot take on f2. He goes f5. So I take, and now it's time to start making some stuff happen. Now here I do have a lot of options. Like I was really thinking about queen c4 and hitting e6 and like what's going on here. I mean, this serial killer just lets me take on g7, but then everything here is kind of messed up. So here I'm going to try to keep pieces and make something happen. Queen c6, here, and then this is when it starts getting actually kind of complicated for him. Like here, okay, he's definitely winning. I think we found what's the best move for him. Yeah, I think it was rook d8. At least that's what the oracle says. But basically here, like, I don't, like, the rook stays coordinated. Whereas here, the rook is kind of off center. And now, like, I have a really big threat. Let's just make a random move, for example, of going, like, knight e4. Or the other move is rook takes g4 was the other one. G1. So, I just kind of put pressure. I mean, definitely, like, I'm definitely losing here. But I had enough threats where it's not easy, and then he kind of slipped and went queen d2. And then I'm like, let's go. Queen g6 check. And, actually, he just resigned, but queen g6 check, and then it's just forced mate wherever the king goes to take on g7. So, yeah, I did beat a grandmaster. I mean, obviously not my first one. And maybe my luckiest one, almost for sure. But big theme, like, as I said throughout the tournament, is, like, you put pressure, and I can outplay these guys in worse or equal positions. Even IMs and GMs is possible. Now, of course, with experience, I want to avoid getting these positions out of the opening. And, I mean, I think every game that we've looked at has been first time I played this. Pretty much actually every game, actually now that I think about it, every game I played, it's the first time I got this position. None of these positions I've actually played before OTB or even online, honestly. Which is, I mean, that's tough. Like, you're coming out fresh and, honestly, scoring well at least, but I'll 100% say some luck involved, but if it keeps happening, it ain't luck. I'll say that too. Somewhere you got to give yourself some points for a pat on the back for having skill. So yeah, so I beat this Grandmaster, Darcy Lima, and now we're going to go on to so this is round 6, so we're on to round 7 next. All right, what's up, guys? This is my round 7 game against the man, the myth, the non-legend, Nico Chasin, international master, Nico Chasin. I say the non-legend just because anytime I hear anyone say anything about him, I've only had this game as an interaction nothing outside of that. But anytime I've had anyone else say anything about him, they have not been big fans. If anything, they've been quite the opposite. So anyway, this is my round 7 game. Get a BOGO position. So I go for d5. Once again, I like to throw in this a5 move just to make things a little bit more interesting. Grabbing space over here. So now d5, bishop a6, queen c2, all normal stuff. And now here I thought I should go a4 here. Just because my whole idea is I thought I'm going to take here and he's going to go queen takes. And the fact that he went queen c2 means he moved twice. Now, once again, first time I'm getting this position. With it being the first time I'm getting this position, I should not be going for pawn sacks that are quote-unquote dubious. Instead, probably a simple move like c5 would make a lot of sense here. I was also really looking at the move knight e4, just because I thought if he takes, this knight is actually super misplaced. Like after this, he actually is going to get trapped after h5. And my idea with knight e4 is, okay, like if he castles, for example, I'll take on d2. He has no bishop pair. Maybe he has some space. But I thought that black was 100% just chilling here. So instead, I go for bishop a6, just putting pressure. Yeah, c5 would have been the move here. Just, once again, putting pressure here. Nothing crazy. Nothing super complicated. And once again, when you're playing in a tournament, when you're getting a position you haven't really played before, try to avoid the cray-cray unless you're really sure about it. So I go a4, and basically in my head, I was like, all right, he's got double isolated pawns on the outside. At some point, I'm going to win this back. I'm going to take away his bishop pair, and I should just be better here. Or not better, sorry. But I have no problems here, was my idea. Now, the problem with this position is after queen d7, my original idea, I thought he could go knight e5. This is actually what I was more worried about. And take, and I thought maybe he takes on c7, yeah. Now here, okay, I mean, maybe I try to get some counterplay like this, but the bigger question, and the more important question, is why am I just down a pawn? It's like, you didn't have to do this to yourself, You could have very, very easily avoided this by just not giving the pawn. But I guess another thing is if you're going to do something kind of like out there or more risky, really think it through. Like, did I go that deep in the variation? Not 100%. I more just assumed like he wouldn't take because he got double isolated pawns. But all right, so I go here, knight d6. Yeah, c5 was possible, but I was like, all right, I'll just do this, and then here I was gonna go to c5. Now, of course, he cannot take this pawn because I'm just probably I just win the piece. He can't take it, so I push him back. And here queen c7 is a bad move, but also it's kind of a baiting move, not on purpose. But basically after queen 7, I realized he can go knight g5 and really cause some problems over here, which is what he did. But interesting enough, it actually made the game kind of interesting, in a sense where like he's got to make some decisions. And I actually could almost like the Woodward game. I actually have chances to come out of this mistake in a slightly maybe better than I was position is the best way to put it. So he went h4. Of course, if I move my knight, I'm dead. So f6. I really wanted to go h6, but this position, it's funny because like here, like I'm not even like I actually get my pawn back, but I thought I could hold this position and like okay, if I hold this position, I'm just not dead lost. Something like this, and queen g7 is where my calculation kind of stopped. But in my head, I realized like this position is just so easy for white to play. Like he's better and he has a plan, whereas I'm just trying to survive. Why should I go into this? Okay, I get my pawn back, but is it really worth it? Is it worth the pain and suffering of being equal, So after h4, I went for the more normal f6. And after take, I went for e5. So now here, the idea is, okay, I am down 2 pawns, but all his pawns are weak, his king is weak, and I've kind of stoned out the bishop by having these pawns to block it. So here I actually, I knew I was down material and I was worse, but I thought, all right, I have chances. And then here I actually ended up going even deeper in the sacrifice column with c4. Now, if he doesn't take it, I could probably go rook c8 and then knight to one of these squares, or even take this and then maybe with having mating chances. Like, okay, let's say, for example, he goes here. After something like this, actually here, not so simple because he has bishop b4. But some combination of his king being weak and me getting initiative, I thought would be good. All right, so here he does this, rook c8, and then queen e8, hitting a4, and trying to come over here to make some problems for him. Once again, I got a janky position at the opening, but I'm really making the most of it and putting pressure on my opponent. So here, okay, I get my pawn back. Once again, best move. He also made the best move. Kudos to him. So this, rook b1. Yeah, I thought about taking, but I was like, I'm going to keep some pieces for now. And then here's actually where I decided to trade the queens. Yeah, this would make some sense. I do agree. Like, for example, if rook takes, I just take here. And I think I should be able to hold this 3-on-4. And his king is, I mean, I guess arguably weaker than mine. Now, the question becomes is after pawn takes, I think I want to go, yeah, queen b5 and rook c4 is the idea, something like this. But, yeah, it's not simple. It's really not simple because his queen comes to g6, and then I have... I mean, I guess I do win this pawn. But, yeah, I don't know. It's complicated. Maybe it's the move. But I was trying to take the queens off the board, actually, and kind of do all the same thing. So this, and now these pawns are really weak. If I can win one of them, I will have holding chances. Now here, I was really thinking... Yeah, I think I made the best move. This knight c5. The reason I went knight c5 is I want to threaten to come here or here, putting pressure on f2. And I figured if he traded off, I would have really good chances of holding this rook and pawn endgame. And as you can see, like, made a lot of progress. Now here was the quote unquote mistake. So we want to go rook c4. No, not this one. This rook to c4. I think the idea is you want to put pressure on this pawn. So this rook is active, correct? Like, it's attacking this. This is the rook that needs to be more active. Okay, and if he goes king g3, I mean, it's a tough position. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Here, and then this. And now I also threaten rook takes pawn here. If I win the a3 pawn, I should be able to hold. 4-on-3, same side, no activity. Boom, we made it. So actually, this was the maneuver. This would have been it. Now he can be active and stuff like rook b8. I mean, honestly, bro, it's crazy. Like, okay, let's say I take this for example. Now all of a sudden I'm losing because I'm getting mated back here. Yeah, so rook d4, what a move. So yeah, computer's doing some finagling for sure. Kind of went for the more straightforward, like brute force method. So here, check, take the pawn, and then here's, oh my god, it's such a bad move. Rook c3. I mean, here, okay, first off, rook c3, I'm going for the cheapo rook e3. Now, of course, I knew this wasn't going to work. But I figured, okay, I get another pawn, and I should be chilling. But the problem is, I let him get active. Now, instead of here, what I can do, and this is the other move, I was really looking at rook h5. But apparently this is also kind of bad. Rook g1. Yeah, I mean, here... This is the stuff that I was really trying to figure out. Is this good or not? Now, this should be losing, this endgame. Because these two pawns is basically like having one pawn. I need the 2 to block the 2. Because then I can cancel out. So check. Let's see what happens after here. Yeah, this position I was really unsure about. I was like, man, I don't know. Is this enough? I think I have to go king h8 too. And then this is always kind of torture. These positions. Just something like this. Always threatening mate. Yeah, it's a tough life. That's all I can say. I mean, I kind of did this by trying to do too much early on. Yeah, I would just chalk a lot of it up to inexperience in the opening. But okay, let's see. So rook c2. Let's see what the proper. So basically, this ties the rook down. This rook cannot do anything because then I take on f2 and he's in trouble. So let's say a4, rook a2, rook a7. Now the next move is crucial. Probably just like king h6. Wow, what an idea. Rook e2. The idea is now I threaten rook e3 and his rook cannot move off. Oh my god, and I can actually shuffle between the two. Okay, king g2. And now he's stuck. I have effectively paralyzed my opponent. Okay, if he pushes, I think, okay, I can catch it. So here, it's not here. Here. And then I'm just going to win this pawn. And this would have been the way to hold this position. So this, as you can see, these rooks have way more control than this rook. This rook frees up his rooks, and This is the pawn. This is the pawn that I need to get. If I can get this pawn, then I have forever checks. If I don't, then he can hide. And that was kind of the critical moment in this to try to hold this position. So yeah, it makes sense. And after this, like I did put in the moves, but basically like I'm just getting rolled here. It's not pretty. He ends up just winning these 2 pawns. I think I get like one of them, and it's just like 3 connected pass, 3 pawns versus the rooks, and pretty much I just die here. So, okay, interesting game. Like definitely know what to fix, and yeah, avoid the janky positions out of the opening. That being said, with proper play, I could have held this. That is the ability that I have. Now I just need to make sure I don't get into the places that I'm going, you know? So, all right. So that's round 7. Next, we will go on to round 8. All right. So this is my quote-unquote last round game against good friend Gunnar Andersen, roommate at the time, too. Always, I mean, honestly, it's been like 8 tournaments in a row where we've roomed together. Never want to play your friend or your roommate or all of the above. So let me just tell you guys real quick about the discussion that went in before the round. So we're like, should we play? Should we draw? I mean, I guess in this case, I am white and the higher rated player. So in general, I should want to avoid drawing. Now, if it was early in the tournament or we're both like crushing it, a draw would make plenty of sense. We're not trying to get in each other's way. But at this point, we're both 4 out of 7. In my experience, 6 out of 9 gets you norms, money, all the prizes, whatever. So we both basically need to win this game. Like, a draw is going to put us both in, I mean, honestly, it's going to put him in a fine position. But for me specifically, like, if I draw, I'm going to have black in the last round, playing down. It's just, we should play, you know? If I lose, the idea is use my rating wisely. If I win, I'll use your rating wisely. Let's just go play good chess, and we'll see what happens. So I would say this is the mature way to approach playing your friend. You never get mad at your friend if they don't want to draw. And if they do want to draw, like, they're definitely, like, it's not like I didn't want to draw him, or it's just like this was go time and I was trying to play. So we played, like we ended up playing a game. So here, funny enough, the first round and the last round pretty much are the same position with the colors reversed. If y'all remember round 1, this is my position with black. So I had an idea he would play this. I'll even show you guys the opening. What a lucky day for you guys. It's a C3. I definitely have different move orders I can choose. I played take on C6 in the past. I've also played rookie 1 here. So this one I decided to go C3 literally because I played it round 1 and I remember analyzing it with my sensei after that. So I had some fresh ideas. And I know we've never played this position. So he goes D5. And if you guys remember in round 1, I ended up taking on D5 and black was chilling. So I decided to go for the other move, E5 here, and almost get like an advanced French structure. So here, basically advanced French, but why is this knight on G6? That is kind of the idea I had in my head. So he goes bishop E7. So a very common idea with bishop E7 is to go knight H4. Remember, as a French player, I know these positions, and now as a Sicilian player and as a Rosalind player, I really know these positions. So this is the first time I'm getting this position, but this is probably one of those I feel very comfortable with, just because I've hit it from so many different angles. So here I go G3. He castles, and now I go H4. Now something ironic about this, and ironic about this whole situation, is Gunnar Andersen, my good friend, is one of my arch nemesises. Just like Brian Escalante, just like Jakob Fus, this was the pinnacle of my arch nemesis. He's beat me 2-0. Man, I think I was white both those games too. Celery Dragon? No. He was, okay, I was black, one of them. But he's beat me 2-0, and like I was like, I need to avenge this. I can't lose this. And ironically, the last time we played, the way he beat me was he went H4, H5, I don't know what happened there. H4, H5, H6, and I got mated out here. So I was like, well, I mean, I learned from the best, so let me try to do it. So here, let me put on the Oracle too. So here, H5. So basically, his knight is temporarily banished to the Shadow Realm. Great graphic coming up for that one. So he goes knight H8. Now here it's where I have to make a decision. All right, what do I do next? Now the reason I took on F6 is I want to open up this side. This is certainly my strong side of the board. don't really want to let him close it down. Funny enough, my strong side can be here too. He's kind of got a janky French on his hands, so maybe that was possible too. But all right, now it's just about let me develop my pieces. Let me get these guys out. So knight c3, he goes rook a7, a classic Gunnar move, just swinging the rook from the other side. I mean, we played a lot of training games, like a million training games. So this is not a new idea that I'm surprised about at all. So here I just start developing the pieces. Now here I knew for sure he was going to go g5. It's just a type of move he would play. Now actually, real quick, let me show you all another maneuver that makes a lot of sense here. So knight e2, knight f4 is a very strong maneuver. Putting pressure here, also preventing g5 because now I have en passant. So like say for example here, this. I've got option. Bishop e3 is hot because he can't take the knight because he loses the rook. And let's say like knight takes e5 for example, take, and then here is just like structurally, wow, knight f4. White is doing super well here. I mean, it's just like his coordination is very off. This would have been the way to go. Now I know, like, okay, this is the maneuver you want to look for in this type of position. So once again, theme of the tournament, like this was the most comfortable or familiar position I had, and it's something I'd never played. It's just something I kind of know about from different angles. So next time, you got experience. This is why you want to play openings again and again. Now here, I think, I'm going to say I was like scared of taking, but this would have been the more make sense kind of move, you know. I just want to open this side. Now what I was worried about is, okay, he's going to swing the rook, and I'm going to have to deal with all this kind of shenanigans. And it's dangerous, for sure. I mean, Gunnar, dangerous player. Like, I know his style. Like, this is dangerous. But the problem is, if I let him keep the pawn and do the same things, all right, I don't get the g6 square, but now this pawn is actually very annoying. A lot of times he can push, it restricts movement, and this side is actually almost a little bit safer because he played g5 and I didn't open it up. All right, so we go forward. So knight f7, queen d2. Yeah, I mean, there's moves here, but everything makes sense. So here's where I started to realize he's going for e5. Like, that's the big break. Now, part of me wanted to go, all right, to Valhalla we go. We take here, knight takes, and then some kind of like bishop d4. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this is just some serial killer stuff. And I also knew, since I've played Gunnar so many times and I've seen his style, like, this is what he wants. He wants the cray-cray. He wants the pieces flying. Let me just chill. Let me just chill out and let's see what he's going to do. So, once again, he goes knight d6, and cray-cray would go. Like, once again, I cannot take here because, well, I guess I can. But the reason this doesn't just win, the pawn on d5 is, I mean, even here is equal, which is crazy. But he has this knight c4 in between move. Here, I mean, once again, tough decisions to make. But he goes knight c4, I go queen c1. So here, bishop takes g5, and I think what he missed here, somewhere he thought he could go rook f5. I don't know if it was here, but I mean, okay, his rook is just hanging. So, I mean, once he got there, he found it out. But queen e8, bishop h6, I guess here's maybe where he missed something. And the key move is after bishop takes b2, which is what he did. I have queen g5 check, which is very, very important out there. So here I have this fortunate resource, queen g5 check, here, take. He sacks the exchange. And then this is actually maybe where the problem of me playing Gunnar so much is. Instead of trying to be accurate and finish the job, I was trying to be conservative. I'm not going to use the word lazy, but I was trying to avoid the fight. And I think this has been a big theme after these like crazy scrambles in the middle game, crazy scrambles against high-rated players or strong players. Like, I'm avoiding the finish at the end. And that's where like the battle is really won. So here, in fact, I can actually just keep the exchange and go rook d1, or maybe even better in some cases, rook e1. Just keep the exchange. Like, okay, he has some threats, but I think I'm going to survive, and then I can actually counter. Remember, his king is weak. Okay, he's got bishops, but, I mean, these guys are kind of stoned out in the corner. Like, I could definitely make something happen here. Of course, let's not forget, his crazy position. Actually, okay, rook d1 is the best for this reason. Because after rook d1, rook g7, queen takes d5, and knight b4, I have queen d8. Now, if I get here, boom, we made it. GG. So this is where, like, and this is just like the Fus game, I need to take a little bit extra and go ahead and finish the job. Ironically, this is the one game I think I was up on time against the fastest guy in the most crazy position. Um, so I definitely could have done this. Maybe it was lazy, maybe it was intimidation, maybe it was we just trying to chill. Maybe it's part of it is like you're playing your friend. If I'm playing a grandmaster, maybe a different story. Who knows? But lesson here is it should not be. It shouldn't matter who you're playing, when you're playing, how you're playing. You make the best moves no matter what. All right, so knight f4, rook g7. So here I took this pawn, and I'm going to be honest, I did miss knight b4, but I knew with such a crazy position, I mean, I can't be that bad. Now here, there's some cool ideas. First one is queen f3. So queen f3, you're like, wait, that's a free bishop. But here I have the sneaky move, knight g6 check, picking up the queen. So he can't do that. Okay, once again, let's just take a second and enjoy this view. I mean, this is just straight madness. Like, you could make a study and it would never be as crazy as this. So, wait. So let's go ahead and analyze this a bit more. So, queen f3, knight e5. So now knight g6, quote-unquote, works but doesn't work because he has knight takes g6. Now, of course, we go rook b1. I mean, what else? Queen, yeah, let's follow this river of chaos. Am I going to be up in exchange? Why don't I just take this knight? h6? Wait. I'm tripping, dude. Oh, the bishop's hanging. That's why. Okay, so h6. Rook f7. Oh, my God. One thing you learn from the computer, never be in a rush to make the obvious move. A lot of times you can... Oh, my God. And after all of this, 2 pieces for a rook and 2 pawns? Rook and pawn, it's equal. Crazy stuff, 100%. So knight e5, otherwise he's worse. But, I mean, yeah. So, okay, this is the one variation. Now, the other variation I saw, and I actually ended up playing, is queen a8. So the idea is, okay, if he takes here, I have this idea knight e6. Once again, I wasn't really sure what's going on here. Something like this. I think here in like h6. This is where I was like, all right, this is the critical position. So it's once again, it's 2 pieces for a rook and pawn, but his king is sus and his pieces are very off-center. So here is where I was like, bishop h3, an interesting move. I mean, yeah, all of this would have been just nuts, to say the least. So queen a8, he goes for rook b7, kind of slams it into. And I was like, okay, I saw this. Once again, I had a feeling he's going to play this too, just because it's just the cray-cray. So now I go rook d1 with this crazy idea. Knight b6, queen is trapped, but I go queen takes rook, bishop takes, and now knight e6. And now I basically force him to give back the queen. Otherwise, anywhere else, rook d8 is basically mate. So here, this, take, knight g4. Now here I was deciding for knight g4 and even like knight c5. But the problem with this is, man, these pawns are so dangerous. All right, not even these pawns. This pawn is so dangerous. This pawn of the boys. This is like the Turtle Squad. Squirtle, sorry, not Turtle Squad. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles / Squirtle Squad over here. Squirtle. They are hooligans. They are freaking me out, and they got one big diamond that they're trying to cash in at the bank. And I'm like, bro, I don't even know if I can finish this. This looks scary. So, I think I chose the right route, the conservative route here at this point. So here, bishop f3, he offers a draw. I can't really lose at this point. So I go here, and then this is the last move to make. Where, okay, if he wants to try to win, he can. So he can go bishop g7 if he wants to try to win. Because now, okay, there's no perpetual. Once again, it's so crazy. I was going to go knight f5. And if somehow I can get my rook to the back row, I thought like rook c1 or something, he could be in trouble. He's in very big trouble. Problem is, this rook is stuck behind the Squirtle Squad. Squirtle Squad is not letting him out. I can't wait to get the Squirrel Squad graphic for this video. So, rook b1, he goes knight c4, and I'm like, alright, Squirrel Squad, we're just going to call it. There's nothing here. Squirtle! I ain't trying to lose. This is actually the first game that we played. It was a draw, and I tried too hard, and I found the only way to lose. In time pressure, last game to finish. One of the last games to finish, maybe not the last one. So, definitely learned my lessons from this. So here we took the draw. Arch nemesis, in a very interesting way. This is like there's like some like arch nemesis that hate each other, and some that are actually like secretly best friends, because like they're the only friends they have. Okay, this is getting deep, but there's this movie called The Watchmen, right? And there's this guy called the Comedian who's like he's like the good guy but kind of the bad guy, and he's basically like the whole superhero era has ended. Really going on a tangent here, but the whole superhero has ended, and I think he's like talking to his arch nemesis Mollusk, and he's like, basically he breaks into his house one day, and he's like sitting there just having a heart to heart with him, and he's like, hey man, like I know you're my arch nemesis, but like you're the closest thing I have to a friend. This is not quite that scenario, but this is one of those like you're arch nemesis, but we definitely homies. So it was nice not to lose. Once again, theme of the tournament, just crazy positions. I mean, spare no expense. Like these are some of the craziest positions I've had, but navigated them pretty well. Didn't lose to any nemesises. Had my chances to win if I pushed a little harder, and that is round 8. So next, I'm going to get into the recap, and then we will be good to go. All right, so this is the tournament recap. 2 things I want to add before I really get into the exact recap. First one is round 7 against Nico Chasin. Something really annoying, really super annoying that was going on was sitting to the right of me was this kid Liam Putnam, very strong chess player, 2300, blah blah blah. And every 5 to 10 minutes, Nico would just look at him, and Putnam would just burst out laughing, like really loud laugh, and not like super loud, but just like so like he would laugh to the ability he had to like cover it up or walk away, just for looking at him, and the reason why this is annoying, and the reason why that it was especially annoying is I'm sitting here defending a position where I was an idiot and I played bad, and now I gotta hold this worst position, and I'm actually kind of holding it. Like I'm actually like just not dead lost, you know. And then when you're holding it, when you're concentrating, trying to make sure like, yo, I gotta do this, I'm so close, and then you hear this kid bursting out laughing next to you, that's annoying. When he does it 1 time, okay. 2 times, okay. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, bro. Anytime after 6, like, it really got to the point where I was like, buddy, if you do that one more time, I'm gonna take away your ability to laugh. Please stop that. I never said anything, and it was kind of karma. Like he got this completely drawn endgame against this grandmaster Karthik Rao. I think that's his name. So one of the Indian grandmasters completely drawn, and he just completely botched it. The grandmaster found a way to win, and ended up taking his soul. So that was kind of God's way of taking care of the problem. But to all the kids out there, please don't be annoying. Like I understand your kids. I understand y'all don't understand life and stuff, and everything's funny and cool. But if you get annoying, like there's gonna be consequences. Is what I'm trying to say. So please don't burst out laughing. Now, the second thing I want to talk about before I really get into the recap of the tournament is not playing the last round. So I didn't play the last round. I was 4.5 out of 8. I figured last round I was going to play down with black. And the way this kind of works is if I lose this game, but basically I'm going to have, when you're playing a strong tournament like this, every game is going to be tough, right? You're going to have a tough game. Or not easy, at least. It's going to be a battle, is the way to put it. So I'm going to play down. If I lose this game, so at this point I'm basically up 10 points, up 10 FIDE. Not great, but okay. It was better than negative, and it's pretty solid. So playing this game, if I lose this last game, not only do I lose plus 10, I probably lose rating. So 5 days are gone, where a negative loss of rating. I'm going to have to drive back depressed because I just lost. Now if I win this 4 or 5 hour battle, or 3, 4, 5 hour battle, I'll gain a couple more points. Now, okay, great. Like I'll be up maybe 15 instead of 10. Which, okay, this is good. This is great. But do I want to take this chance? Do I want to risk going home empty-handed, depressed? And this is what happens maybe as you get older. And you can see it with a lot of other players. If you're not playing for anything last round, like why are you putting yourself at risk? Because this guy who's playing up this last round, he's like, bro, if I win this, I can get 15, 20 points. Like, if I for sure knew I was playing up last round, I would play. Black or white, I would play. Just because, okay, now if I win, I can go from plus 10 to plus 25. If I lose, I lose 5 points, I'm still plus 5. And the greatest analogy that I can put to this is something that I've been doing recently and I've done in the past is sports betting. Like, for example, I'm really into parlays. Like, putting together 6 players. If you win, you bet $5, you get like $300. Now, what can happen is you hit the first 4 picks, and now you just need one guy to win. If this one guy wins, you get $300. If he loses, you get nothing. Now, something that I've learned by doing this is there's 2 things you can do. You can hedge your bet, where like you bet on the other guy. So worst case, you win 100 or you make 200 instead of winning 300. Or, and this is something that you can do, it's maybe more of a new thing, is instead of waiting for the last game, you just cash out. So this happened really recently for me with the Kansas City Chiefs. So basically, I bet $5 on Sunday to win $300. And everything hit. The Lions over, Miami Dolphins. I don't remember who else was on it, but basically hit. And it came down to the Kansas City Chiefs playing the 8 o'clock game. Now, if I wanted to, I could cash out the $5 and just make $213. Great. Bro, I bet $5 and I'm making $213. Just taking the money and run. Like, that's great. Or I can wait and see. If the Chiefs win, I win $333. Even better, right? Now, the Packers aren't a bad team. They're a legit underdog. They are good. I mean, Chiefs, literally, Super Bowl MVP. Like, they won the Super Bowl. They got the best player in the game, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, last week they beat the Raiders like 35-10. So I'm like, I mean, I let it ride. I let it ride, and halfway through the game, like basically the Chiefs cannot stop the Packers. The Packers are scoring every single drive they have, and the Chiefs are keeping up, but it's a close game. Now at some point I could have cashed out for $150, but I try to hold on and try to get that full price, that $300. And basically what happened was the Chiefs had them right where they wanted them. 5 minutes left, I think down 3 driving, or maybe down 4, down 5 driving, and then if they win, they win. And then Mahomes throws a pick, the Chiefs lose, and I end up with nothing. That is like, once again, just like losing the last round when you're playing for nothing, this is like one of the worst feelings. Like you walk away with nothing and you were just this close. So this is why I withdraw in certain circumstances if I'm playing for nothing and I have something to lose. So just like I could have just cashed out for $200 for $5. If I'm up 10 points and if I lose the last game, I'm down 5 or 6 or 7. I'm not gonna play that game. Like it's just like long run. What is the smarter thing to do? And this is something I've kind of learned with playing chess. Is it's very about the long term. Like okay, you can get 100 points to win a tournament. I mean, it's probably never gonna happen, but more is just make sure you just keep gaining rating, and eventually you're gonna be up rating. If you try to play a hero, if you try to bet with your heart, if you try to be like, nah, I'm going to win, I always play the last round, I don't care, like, you might be a hero, but you also might die a hero. And that's the more important thing. The smart people don't die heroes. You see that. You see all the grandmasters, they start bad, they don't finish. And it's not about not finishing, because that just sounds bad. It's about being smart, about, like, retreating. It's like, and I'm going on a rant here, but, like, General Custard, Battle of Bighorn, like, don't die a hero. It's not worth dying a hero. It's almost like being that heroic boxer who just takes punches and you just keep going. Sure, it looks good when you win, but when you 50, when you 60, you can't speak. Nobody's talking about how, I mean, they'll talk about how you're a hero, but no one's going to be there when you're at, like, sitting there and you can't talk, you can't move. So it's really about being smart, and that is why I did not play the last game. So that's my little speech about annoying kids, withdrawing from tournaments. Now let me just go through and recap the tournament, just kind of what I learned. So this is actually what I like to do now. I'm trying to write things down. I think if you write things down, it's way easier to remember, and you can also go back and review. So the pros of this tournament is I did whip out the Sicilian. Every opening that I said I was going to play, I stuck to the plan. I didn't switch up last minute. That's something that I've been notorious to do. I was going to do this, and all of a sudden, like, no, I'm going to do something else. But nope, I stuck to my guns. Great fighting chess. Like, I mean, you can see from the games, there were so many times I'm worse against someone 200, 300 points higher rated than me. And not only do I not lose, but I outplay them, I can win, and sometimes I draw. That's what you want. You can do that. Once you start getting good positions, Like, life is going to be even better and easier. Another big thing is pretty much no blunders. I think the only blunder would be against Andy Woodward, and that was like there was a time pressure. Like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I saw his tactic. I saw what he's trying to do. I was just like, I can't believe this is happening kind of position. So really no blunders. I talked about outplaying good players. And then working out, I think at least half the days, I went to the gym in the morning, ate pretty healthy, nothing crazy, slept pretty well. Now there were a couple of days where maybe I took the morning off and I kind of just chilled. I did wake up pretty much early every day. There was never like you woke up at 10:30, the game's at 11, you had to rush down, you didn't even prep for your opponent. No, like every day, like I was up hours before, got prep in, got food in if I needed it, if I was hungry. So that's really good. Now cons, time pressure. So the time pressure I think really goes hand in hand because I was pretty confident. Tactics are good, no blunders. It goes hand in hand with these positions being pretty funky and being new. None of these I've played before OTB or even I think online. One of the game against Fus, I actually looked at a similar game with my sensei. So I had ideas, but it was different enough where I couldn't just kind of do the same thing. I really had to navigate and figure things out. So that is a big thing with time pressure. BOGO is definitely something I want to work on. Both my losses were there. I mean, okay, like Woodward, I had a good position, so you can't be too mad. And then against Chasin, it's just about don't. Okay, I mean, this is also goes hand in hand. Like, don't too much in new positions. Like, break it down, be objective, and figure out mechanically what is happening with the pieces and with the flow of the position. Instead of I don't know what to do. Let me try this. Let me try this. Let me try to be a hero. Big thing. Don't be a hero. Actually, another pro that I want to add to this is avenging or making progress. Fine, I'll do this one. Making progress against arch nemesises. What's the plural of nemesi? I'll just put nemesi for now. So against Brian Escalante, against Jakob Fus, and against Gunnar Andersen, all of these guys had my number. I was literally oh my god, I was 0 out of 6 against, 0 out of 5 against them. 0 out of 5. Terrible. All women with like at least like 4 out of 5 was white too. Terrible. So yeah, 0 out of 5, 4 out of 5 white, and this time I didn't lose any of them. I mean, I didn't beat any of them either, so I got some progress to make, but we're moving in the right direction. That's literally a clear indicator of me getting better at chess. Even Fus after the game said like, yeah, since the last game you played, you got a lot better. So that's really the thing that you want to see. Growth doesn't have to be you gain 200 points in one tournament. Just got to be better than the last one. Keep doing that. Keep getting better. Now, very interesting thing I want to say, and it's still untested, but it seems like the way to go against high-rated players is play theory. So the reason why you want to play theory against high-rated players is once again, it depends on the high-rated player. Different players are different. But certain people or certain players play a bunch of openings, like 4, 5, 7, 10 different openings. And if you play very sharp theory against them, they might not know it because they have to hold so much. And I see this with myself sometimes too. Whereas against lower-rated players, they've only played one thing for pretty much forever. So if you play theory against them, they're going to know this. They're like, bro, I've played a million games and a million times it's been this position. So I'm going to do this. So against those guys, you kind of play more like offbeat, like system-y openings, and you kind of just chill and wait. Once they start playing chess, that's when like you start making moves, making progress, and their position gets from okay to worse to now you're winning. So that's definitely something that I want to test out more. Like against the high-rated players, you play the legit sharp stuff, and against the low-rated, you kind of just chill and you play flowy chess. Of course, you have to know it, but you don't go into the cray-cray. And then lastly, the two more cons that I want to talk about are not finishing winning games. So there's twice, Fus and Gunnar, where I navigated, I do what I'm supposed to do, I got the better position, and instead of finishing them off, instead of finding the knockout, I kind of coasted. I kind of decided to just take it easy for a little bit, and that's when they got back in the game. That's when they came back, and both of them were fortunate enough to draw, but I think I could have cleaned those up better. And I literally know the 2 exact moments where I could stay up in exchange and where I could not trade knights and go into the equal end game. So that's very good lesson. After the tough fight, you got to keep fighting. Don't take it off because then you have to actually keep fighting after that. And then lastly, and this is just something that happens, 2 openings that I spent just a million hours covering with my teacher. Just, we got to go through this, got to go through this, got to go through this. And we never got those 2 openings. We ended up getting Rosalimos and what's the other one I got a lot of? And Bogos. Rosalimo and Bogos we got the most of. Not ones, I mean, honestly, both I am pretty prepared against, but they're not the stuff that we spent a million hours covering. So that's life. That's what's gonna happen. And maybe next tournament I get position after position of what I've looked at. So lastly, to sum it up, I would give myself a B for this tournament. I would say above average, gain points, did what I was supposed to do. Only lost to good people and shouldn't have lost to good people. Only drew good people. Should have beat. I mean, pretty much could have won all those games. Escalante, I think I got kind of lucky. Even that game, apparently, I had chances. But it was fighting chess against good players, and that's all you can ask for. So that is my recap of the U.S. Masters 2023. A lot of stuff, a lot of different things. I got to edit it now, but definitely some fun games, crazy games. Hope you. I mean, I know you guys are entertained. So enjoy. See you guys in the next video. Peace.